Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated economist here. Thought I'd talk a little bit about this Russian gold standard. A lot of people have asked me about this whole Russia moving into a gold standard to back their currency, and that's not exactly what has taken place. I will leave a link down in the description for you guys. It's a pretty good article talking about it. And what I see happening is that Russia, the government is buying gold bullion in rubles, but they're buying it under market value. Like, it would be better to sell your gold on the open market for dollars because you're going to get a better rate for it than if you were to buy it or sell it to the Russian government for rubles, because they're not giving you as good a price. They're not paying as much for it. I mean, it does kind of have this idea that there is a gold standard when you have the government involved in the purchasing of gold, but it's not like at a fixed rate. So you couldn't go to Russia and say, hey, I got, so many rubles, I want an ounce of gold. It's only going one way, right? You can buy or sell them gold at a certain price, but you couldn't go and pick it up for that same price. So that's not necessarily like a gold standard. It's just the government is involved in the purchasing of gold. And in my mind, that's more to add strength to their currency. And this is something that Russia has been pushing for quite some time. I mean, they're making other nations who buy their energy to purchase that energy from them in rubles. And every time they do this, they are strengthening their currency. Now, if you go and you look at some of the articles that I leave down in the description for you guys, you're going to see that Russia was getting hit pretty hard. They had inflation rates running really it was running rampant, getting out of control. They had lifted interest rates all the way up to 20%, but now they have backed those down. They're dropping their interest rates. They're trying to get their money velocity moving again. So you can see that they're over the worst of it at this time. Now, it doesn't mean that things couldn't get worse or things could shift again and and go into some more bad times. But from the overall appearance of some of the things that I'm seeing, it looks like Russia has pretty much gone through the worst of it and is now ready to start advancing their economy again. When they do this, and when they start to reestablish trade with the rest of the world, they're going to try and do it in their currency. They're going to try and sell all their commodities, all their energy, everything that they do, they're going to try and do it in Russian rubles. That way it would add even more strength to it, just so that they can have some sort of presence on the world, on the world stage. It's going to be difficult for them to do this so long as all the sanctions are in place. As long as the government or the United States is inflicting upon them damaging business tactics so that they can't actually do trade freely in the world, then they're going to have ways of trying to circumvent that. And that's what they're attempting to do now. Keep an eye out for it, because soon we're going to start hearing a lot more about the tokenizing of commodities and selling those commodities on the world trade, going around the United States and all those sanctions. This is how they're going to do it. They're going to do it with tokenizing and digital blockchain technologies. It's going to happen. I mean, I have very little doubt in my mind. And I think that these sanctions on it are actually they're not trying to do it. I mean, I try not to put too much conspiracy theories into things, like saying that there's a small group of people who are really trying to control the entire world and everything within it. Not saying that isn't happening. I'm just trying not to relay a theory or thought around that. But it really seems that these sanctions are going to be pushing these other nations who are feeling the pain from it to find some other way of doing business. And it seems to me that cryptocurrencies and central bank digital currencies, tokenizing of commodities, this is going to be the easiest way for them to do it. As time goes on, it's gonna tell, but you can see it happening. You can already see the movement into cryptocurrencies is growing much more prevalent. I was at the movies the other day, and there was a big advertisement for crypto.com right across the beginning of the movie before the advertisement starts. I mean, this is in the movie theater with a bunch of people there, and it says crypto.com. And I looked around to see if anybody else was like, excited or noticed that, this thing had cryptocurrency advertising taking place, and nobody noticed, like nobody even really cared. It's just like, just another thing that's in there. And I'm thinking, wow, it's becoming a household concept now. Cryptocurrencies is not strange or weird or lost. It's actually happening. It's happening on a daily basis. I went into I live out in the country now, and there's this little country store out there. And they have like a little bit of everything, but they're not like a major supermarket. They're just a little country store. And in this little country store, there's a Bitcoin ATM machine, which I just found absolutely hilarious. And I asked the lady, I'm like, how many people have you seen actually messing with that machine? And she says, actually, quite a few. People go in there, and I said, do they ever pull money out? And she says, nope, they only put money in. So they're only buying Bitcoin with this ATM machine. But I found that quite humorous, that here in the middle of nowhere is this cryptocurrency ATM. And it's not the only one. I mean, there's other ones in town here, which, is becoming a lot more common. I mean, you're going to find these things. You're going to find them pretty much in every city. It's going to be, they're probably already pretty prevalent. I don't know. I don't really travel a whole lot much anymore. But when you see them like in 4 or 5 different locations here in Astoria, I know that it's going to become a very popular item to see throughout the entire nation. It's only a matter of time before it takes place. A lot of people are arguing about whether or not the central bank digital currency can take over cash. I absolutely believe it'll take over cash. I think that it's going to have cash pretty much become an extreme nuisance. It won't take cash completely out of the system, saying that you won't have it or that it won't be available. It's just that trying to deposit it into a bank is going to become, you're going to end up paying a fee to deposit it or to withdraw it. And therefore, anybody who is accepting it is also going to have to absorb that fee. So pretty much you're going to have to take a loss on your dollars if you use them to make a purchase with, or if you accept them. If that's the case, then people are going to demand more dollars for it. So we're going to literally have 2 different currencies in play. And most people, like I said, will not recognize it until the cash becomes a nuisance, and then they will recognize that there is a difference. They say that like the older population or homeless population or just people who don't have access to a bank account, they won't be willing to accept this new form of digital currency. And I just don't feel that that's going to be the case. They will put it on a debit card. You will have an app on your phone. They will figure out a way to get it to people who do not have the typical means of using like a bank account or a traditional form of banking like that. It's just a matter of the convenience of it. And if you can distribute out debit cards to everybody, then there's no reason why you couldn't put everything into a digital currency, and from that point on track, trace, and tax everything that ever happens to you after that. So, all right, I'm going to go back to work. Uneducated economist. You guys let me know.